Welcome to the BioWhisperer channel. Our topic today is on an overview of microbial immunological terminology associated with immunological sciences. The field of microbial genetics has come a long way since van Leeuwenhoek's first renderings of microorganisms in the 1600s. Thanks to recent advances in genomics and proteomics, scientists have learned that the genes involved in virulence tend to share similar properties. Our understanding of infection sciences have been deepened with each pandemic the world has experienced, with the current one being COVID-19 pandemic. We hear in the news terminology associated with infection sciences, and these are often linked up to microbial infection. Here are some examples of what is in the news as of 2021. Within the various disciplines of science, terminology plays an important role in the understanding of contexts and specialized texts. Understanding the intricate terminological details of the technical and scientific contexts helps students comprehend what the main message of the document is, and it helps specialists to transmit the content more effectively. In this video, we will review the common microbial terminology linked to infection sciences, which you might have heard in the mainstream media and the news, given that the COVID pandemic is still evolving. Infection is defined as the invasion and growth of germs in the body. When we use the terminology germs, we are referring to include bacteria, viruses, yeast and fungi amongst others. Infections can begin anywhere in the body and may spread all over the body. This is often referred to as a localized infection progressing towards a systemic infection. Disease is described as a particular abnormal condition that negatively affects the structure or function of all or part of an organism, and that is not due to any immediate external injury. Diseases are often known to be medical conditions that are associated with specific signs and symptoms. Infectious diseases are termed as disorders caused by organisms within our body. This includes living organisms like microbes and bacteria. Described as contagious, they can be passed from person to person through body secretions, insects or other means. Examples are SARS and influenza, which are highly transmissible from host to host. Diseases could also spread from animals to humans, where examples include the avian influenza. These animal-to-human transmissible diseases are known as zoonotic diseases. How are infectious diseases commonly spread? There are a few means. Firstly, it can be spread through person-to-person contact through skin wounds. Any object has the potential to be a carrier of an infectious agent. Dirty clothes and linens, utensils and unsterilized hospital equipment are some examples of a breeding ground for bacteria and parasites. The next mode of transmission is through droplets in the air, which occurs for instance when an infected person coughs or sneezes. Food and drink contaminated by stools or urine. Insects, via their bites or direct infection. Diseases such as human immunodeficiency virus infection, syphilis and gonorrhea involve an exchange of bodily fluids, usually through unsafe sexual activities. Some STIs may also be transmitted through transfusion of blood and blood products and contaminated needles and syringes. Sexually transmitted infections such as human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, infection, syphilis and gonorrhea involve an exchange of bodily fluids, usually through unsafe sexual activities. Some sexually transmitted infections may also be transmitted through transfusion of blood and blood products, and contaminated needles and syringes. All a pathogen needs to thrive and survive is a host. Once the pathogen sets itself up in a host's body, it manages to avoid the body's immune responses and uses the body's resources to replicate before exiting and spreading to a new host. Pathogens can make us sick, but when healthy, our bodies can defend against pathogens and the illnesses they cause. Simply said, it means that from the infection perspective, pathogens trigger diseases regardless of immune status being weakened. Some categories of pathogens include viruses, fungi, and bacteria amongst others. Treatments are available for many of the illnesses caused by the different types of pathogens. There is also symptom relief for those that can't be treated, such as some viral infections. Pathogenicity can be defined as the capacity of a microbe to cause damage in a host, while virulence refers to the degree of damage caused by the microbe. Unlocking the genetic code of disease-causing microorganisms has helped identify common features associated with their virulence. These include pathogenicity islands, the incorporation of bacteriophage genes, and abnormal amounts of guanine and cytosine in the sequences of virulence genes. Virulence is defined as the degree of pathogenicity of a pathogen, bacteria, fungi, or viruses, and is determined by its ability to invade and multiply within the host. Virulence genes are potential targets for risk assessment and intervention strategies. The identification of virulence genes may lead to the development of rapid screening tests. For instance, through the assessment of COVID-19 antigen testing by PCR. Infectivity is referred to as the capacity to spread from host to host. Within the context of an infection, it refers to the ability to transmit infection where during an infection phase, considering the quality or state of being infective. Let's take a look at the role of pathogenicity in infectious diseases. Using an example of a pathogenic bacteria, such as O157H7 Escherichia coli. Pathogenic bacteria have evolved a number of different mechanisms, which result in disease in the host. The virulence factors and determinants used by bacteria to interact with the host can be unique to specific pathogens or conserved across several different species or even genera. This constitutes what we know as the host-pathogen interactions. For instance, common mechanisms for adherence, invasion, evasion of host defenses, and damage to host cells are shared by profoundly different microbial pathogens. However, a virulence factor can only contribute to the pathogenic potential of a bacterium in and as far as the microorganism possesses the constellation of traits conducive to pathogenicity. Coming back to our example, the O157H7 Escherichia coli is amongst the hundreds of types or strains of Escherichia coli bacteria. Shown on the screen is an article published in 2010 which highlights the enterohemorrhagic strain of foodborne Escherichia coli, and the article summarizes the key virulence factors including the Shiga toxin. Different strains Escherichia coli that have different distinguishing characteristics. It is the most common strain to cause illness in people. It can be differentiated from other Escherichia coli by the production of a potent toxin that damages the lining of the intestinal wall, causing bloody diarrhea. It is also known as enterohemorrhagic E. coli infection. It hosts virulence features including the pathogenic island, the plasmid O157, the secretion of Shiga toxins, and from its ecological cycle, we can see that Escherichia coli can stay external of the human gastrointestinal tract and spread through animal hosts, which highlights the adaptability of this strain of Escherichia coli. Microbiology is the study of all living organisms that are too small to be visible with the naked eye. Microbiology is the study of all living organisms that are too small to be visible with the naked eye. Microbiology research has been, and continues to be, central to meeting many of the current global aspirations and challenges, such as maintaining food, water, and energy security for a healthy population on a habitable Earth. Thanks to their versatility, microbes can be put to work in many ways, making life-saving drugs, the manufacture of biofuels, cleaning up pollution, and producing ore. The processing food and drink. Infection science has been in the news since the World Health Organization has declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic. Infection sciences continues to focus on such areas as clinical microbiology, immunology, parasitology, and virology. If you work in infection sciences, You'll study the culture and identification of bacteria, viruses, fungi and parasites that cause infection and disease, including infectious diseases. Moreover, pathology plays a crucial role in helping doctors choose the best type of treatment for patients and monitoring its effectiveness. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to this channel for future updates.